Chapter 2265. Don't tease me, I'm going to laugh. Pudding tried her best to hold back her laughter. I'm not teasing you, I'm serious, okay? Then Little Bean turned her head and saw Suyu. She immediately smiled and waved her chubby little hand. Hey handsome Sue, hey Pudding. Suyu was sitting in the front row so he could hear Little Bean's words and interact with her. Handsome Sue, you're so handsome today. Little Bean began to flatter him. You're beautiful too. Do your best. Suyu gave Little Bean and Pudding a thumbs up. Under everyone's watchful eyes, the two little guys escorted the bride to the center of the stage. Young took the bride from Chin-Je's father's hands, and they looked into each other's eyes. Does the groom have anything he wants to say to the bride? The famous host teased Young. Yes. Okay, everyone quiet down. Let's listen to the confession of the superstar groom. The host said, and the audience immediately fell silent. Countless camera flashes were focused on them and Chin-Je was very nervous. However, she still tried her best to remain calm. She couldn't believe that she was going to marry a superstar, a handsome guy that many girls would go crazy over. Young held Chin-Je's hands and looked at her with tenderness in his eyes. Although Chin-Je wasn't the kind of girl who was stunning at first glance, she was very beautiful today with her exquisite bridal makeup. Young felt his heart race as he looked at the woman he loved in front of him at such an important moment. He took a deep breath and held Chin-Je's hand. Looking into her eyes, he enunciated each word clearly. Jia, my dear wife. From now on we're one. We're going to build a new home, a family of our own. We've been through so much together for the past 4 years. No matter when I was at my lowest point or when I was at my peak, you were always by my side. Because of your identity, you had to be sneaky with me. I didn't do all the things a girl should do. I even had to wear a mask when I went out to the movies and avoid people. But from now on, I want to announce to the world that you, Chin-Je, are my wife. We don't have to hide from people anymore. We can do whatever we want. From now on, I won't let you suffer. I'll love you and take care of you. It's a long life, but I'm confident that we'll be together forever. Yang's voice choked up as tears streamed down Chin-Je's face. Young continued, the clouds never promise to stay in the sky, but we'll always be together. The stars never promise to shine in the night, but they always try to shine. I don't easily tell you how much I love you, but my true feelings will always be with you. We'll walk down the road together and we'll face all the storms together. You'll always be my most precious thing. I won't lose you. Honey, I love you. Then, under everyone's gaze, Young held Chin-Je's face in his hands and kissed her. The crowd immediately burst into thunderous applause. Everyone in the audience was touched by her performance. Huamin's eyes were wet with tears as she clapped so hard that her hands turned red. Honey, calm down. Chin-Chu reminded Huamin. Chapter 2266. I can't calm down, I'm too excited. Young said it so well. It's simple but touching, Huamin praised. How romantic. Why weren't you like this when we were together? Zhu Lingling pinched Gao Ran's arm. Come on honey, I was really touching back then too, okay? Don't bring up the past. Our kids are all grown up now, why are you picking on us? Gao Ran retorted. I don't care. You have to write me something so touching on our wedding anniversary, I want to hear it. Zhu Lingling whined. Gao Buin couldn't take it anymore and spoke up for his father. Mommy, you're so noisy. Let's watch the wedding, okay? Zhu Lingling choked on her son's words. Gao Ran immediately gave his son a look of approval. Ever since his son learned how to talk, his life had been much better. The two of them were finally together. After kissing, the bride and groom exchanged rings. Young held Chin-Je's hand, picked up the microphone and continued. On this happy day, I also want to thank someone. The audience quieted down again as they waited for Young to continue. She patiently treated my illness, comforted me and encouraged me to walk out of my shadow. She even helped me untie the knot in my heart that had been in my heart for many years, allowing me to reunite with my mother and son. That's why we're so happy today. In terms of work and career, she's my teacher. In terms of personal life, she's my dearest family member. Although we're not related by blood, I love her as much as my own life. She's like a family member. No matter where I go, I miss her. Now, let's give her a round of applause and invite her onto the stage to say a few words. Let's welcome my beloved sister, Huamian. As soon as Huamin's name came out of his mouth, the audience erupted into thunderous applause. Suyu glanced at Huamin proudly. It was as if he was happier than being praised. Holy shit, Mian is going to be famous today. Zhu Lingling clapped her hands. He had a private discussion with Jiang Shaowei. Mian is so good to Ni Yang, of course she's grateful. When Ni Yang was suffering from depression, Mian stayed up all night to discuss treatment plans with me. She really did her best. Jiang Shaowei sighed. I mean, now that you mention it, Mian is so nice. She's such a kind girl, that's why she's so lucky, Zhu Lingling said sincerely. Go Dr. Wu. I'm proud of you. Qin Chu patted the back of Huamin's hand to encourage her. Huamin stood up excitedly and walked onto the stage in front of the media and guests. Wow, mommy is so charismatic today. Little Bean exclaimed from behind the bride. Mommy is always charismatic, especially when she's teaching us a lesson. Little Bean snickered. Hey sis, don't mention it. Mommy's going to give a speech on stage. Oh, I have to record it. Little Bean took out her phone as she spoke. Keep it so that when you make a mistake in the future you can use it to kiss up to her, right? Little Bean looked at her sister with disdain. Ha, Pudding knows me best. Little Bean laughed. Huamin was wearing a dark blue evening gown. Her shoulders were bare and there was a thin veil on her back. When she walked she was especially eye-catching. Not only did the gown show off her slim figure, but it also made her look elegant but not ostentatious. It suited Huamin's personality very well. It's too sudden, I didn't prepare for this nor did I rehearse. Huamin picked up the microphone and smiled embarrassedly. It's okay Mian, you can say anything. Ni Yang comforted her. Chapter 2267. Okay then I'll say a few words. Seeing Ni Yang and Qinjie's expectant gazes, Huamin decided to be more high-profile for once. Although it didn't suit her personality, she was still very touched at an event like this. Maybe she would be even more excited when Jixing got married in the future. You can do it, honey. Mr. Qin mouthed to Huamin. She saw it all. She even gave Mr. Qin a clenched fist, looking extremely cute. Did you see it? Daddy and Mommy are secretly showing off their love. Little Bean said playfully. Yeah, I saw it. Daddy's lips and Mommy's hand gesture. Pudding understood everything. The adults sure know how to have fun. Little Bean pouted. Huamin looked around with the microphone in his hand and said in a soft voice, Thank you all for coming today. Today is the wedding of my brother Ni Yang and my assistant Qinjie. At the most important moment of their lives, I sincerely wish that they can trust each other, support each other and live happily ever after. Actually, I also want to say that many people think that when the princess and the prince get together, it is the end of the story and the beginning of a fairy tale. Actually, that's not the case. After the prince and the princess get married, they will have to face many real problems. Marriage isn't a flower under the moonlight and most of the time it's just a mess. It all depends on how they manage this marriage. I hope that my brother and sister-in-law will be mentally prepared to face all the trials and tribulations in life. Please understand each other, be tolerant, respect and love each other, and live life as beautiful as a fairy tale. Thank you all. After speaking, Huamin bowed deeply. At this moment she was extremely elegant. She became the most beautiful woman in the world. Qin Chu looked at Huamin from below the stage, his heart filled with pride. His wife had been outstanding since she was a child. She was as charismatic as ever, and her simple words touched the audience. Mian, you said it so well. Zhu Lingling clapped her hands. His IQ is there. We can't compare with him, Gao Ran said with a smile. Mian, you're an emotional girl, I think you live more realistically than I do, Jiang Shaowei commented. In fact, Jiang Shaowei's IQ and EQ were also very high, but she was not as good as Huamin. She was just too rational. If a woman was too calm, sometimes she would lack a sense of humanity. Huamin was not like that. He was too emotional. She would cry, laugh, throw a tantrum and even drive a car into Huasiqian in excitement. She would even want to jump off a cliff because of despair. After all, they weren't immortals. They all had emotions and desires. Therefore, in comparison, a girl like Huamin was more likable. This was also the reason why Jiang Shaowei admired Huamin the most. Su Yu looked at Huamin affectionately, his gaze unwavering. He always thought that although she wasn't a superstar, she was as dazzling as a superstar. It had been a long time since he saw her radiate with such charm. Su Yu actually felt a little excited. He even wanted to go up on stage and hug Huamin. However, after calming down, he realized that hugging was not an option. Right now, even being alone with Huamin was an extravagant wish. It was as if she never belonged to him. Did you see that? Look at the way Lord Su looks at your sister-in-law. It's like how Shimanqing looks at Pan Jinlian. Tang Chuan teased. Fuck off. Qin Ning was so angry that she exploded. Ah, I'm just kidding. Don't take it seriously. Qin Ning turned her head away and ignored him. Meaning, to be honest, Lord Su really loves Huamin. Tang Chuan didn't bring it up on purpose. He just felt emotional when he saw Su Yu's infatuated gaze. I know. This time Qin Ning didn't get angry. Instead she quietly bit her lip and said, "When did you find out?" Tang Chuan was curious. Chapter 2268. I already knew. You already knew? Then why did you try to get close to Lord Su? Tang Chuan stared at Qin Ning, his heart filled with jealousy. Who tried to get close to Su Yu? Don't deny it, I can see it. Pudding and Little Bean were the ones who set us up. It's not like you don't know how smart those two little guys are. How dare they marry my wife to someone else? I'm going to teach them a lesson. The robot must come back. Tang Chuan began to hold a grudge. What robot? Qin Ning was confused. Nothing. Tang Chuan didn't dare to say more, afraid that Qin Ning would see through the confidentiality agreement between him and Little Bean. Then the MC called the twins to the stage and teased them. You two are so pretty. My little babies, why don't you give the bride and groom a question? I heard that you two have high IQ, so please don't make it too difficult, the MC said with a smile. Sis, you give us a question. Little Bean handed the difficult task to her sister. Pudding's question must be harder. And Ai Yang smiled and picked up Pudding. Qin Jie in her wedding dress held Little Bean's hand. As parents, Qin Chu and Huamin watched from below. What do you think Pudding will ask? Qin Chu tilted his head and looked at Huamin. Maybe she'll ask something that tests IQ. For example, how many light years is Earth from Neptune? Honey, what do you think Little Bean will ask? Huamin asked excitedly. She'll probably ask Ai Yang how many times he plans to do it tonight. Don't make your daughter sound so dirty, okay? Huamin almost choked. Little Bean has always been like this. It's not like you've just met her. Qin Chu laughed. Alright, we'll wait and see. Huamin smiled faintly. Ai Yang handed the microphone to Pudding. Pudding looked at Ai Yang and said, Uncle Ai Yang, please say 6 names for the bride in 30 seconds. The countdown starts now. Wife, wife, lover, baby, wife, wife. After saying 5 words, Ai Yang was stuck. Tang Chuan reminded him softly from behind. Your mother. Get lost. Your mother is the mother's idea. Don't talk nonsense. Qin Ning immediately stopped Tang Chuan's deliberate prank. It's almost time, uncle. Pudding smirked. There's one more. I'm sure I can say it. Does my dear count? Ai Yang suddenly had an idea. Yes. Pudding nodded and looked at Qin Jie. Auntie, please say 6 names for the bridegroom. Husband, 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 lover, husband, darling. Qin Jie said almost in a row. Since Ai Yang was setting the stage, she was much more relaxed. Honey, you're so smart. Ai Yang complimented. So, Uncle Ai Yang, you have to listen to your wife from now on, okay? Pudding asked. No problem. Ai Yang smiled. Little Bean, you ask your uncle one too. Ai Yang really liked the twins, so he wanted to give them a chance to show off. Before Little Bean spoke, Qin Chu and Huamin were both nervous. They were afraid that she would really say something outrageous. After all, there were too many reporters at the scene. It would be bad if someone caught them. Uncle, how many babies do you plan to have? Little Bean asked. I'm responding to the country's call for a second child. 2 is enough. Ai Yang replied. What if Auntie wants to have more babies? Are you willing? Little Bean continued to press. Then we'll have more. Listen to your auntie. We'll just have to pay the fine. After Ai Yang said this, everyone laughed. Then here's the question. How long do you think it will take for Auntie to get pregnant? Little Bean asked. Qin Chu and Huamin both covered their faces. Their expressions were extremely sour. Ai Yang also blushed upon hearing the little girl's question. Chapter 2269. Ai Yang stuttered. Little Bean's words made everyone burst into laughter. Oh my god, isn't my daughter-in-law a bit too fierce? Zhu Lingling burst into laughter. I don't want a daughter-in-law like her, I'm going to ask Qin Chu for a refund. Gao Ran said with puppy eyes. Little Bean is too dirty, too dirty. Gao Buyuan covered his eyes. Son, do you know what Little Bean meant? Zhu Lingling looked down at her son in her arms. I don't know, but I can tell from your expressions that it's not something good, Gao Buyuan said proudly. Ah, son, you're amazing, your reasoning skills are as good as your dad's. Zhu Lingling pinched her son's cheeks. Gao Ran picked up Gao Buyuan from Zhu Lingling's arms. Of course he's my son, he's not a free gift. Little Bean is such a clown, I'm so lucky to have a daughter like her. Jiang Shaowei smiled. How about we swap? You give Yunchu to my family and I'll give Little Bean to yours. Huamin looked at Jiang Shaowei with a smile. Before Jiang Shaowei could say anything, Wei Yunchu couldn't sit still anymore. Auntie Huamin, you can't swap. Why not? Auntie will treat you as well as your mom. You can have whatever you have at home, Huamin coaxed Wei Yunchu. She thought Wei Yunchu would say something like, my mom is the best. However, after a while he finally said, no, if I give her to your family, I'll be Pudding's brother and sister. There's a U-shape there, close relatives can't get married. Pudding is my wife, she can't be my sister. Ha! Wei Yunchu's words made Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran laugh. Jiang Shaowei couldn't hold it in either. Then you can marry Little Bean. Didn't I give her to your family? Then you two won't be siblings anymore. Huamin continued to test the little handsome guy's IQ. Forget it. If we don't compare, we won't know. Now that we compare, I'm shocked. I think Pudding suits me better. Little Bean is too wild. Wei Yunchu used the word wild to describe Little Bean. Slightly, your son's EQ isn't bad. It's comparable to yours. He's going to be amazing when he grows up. Zhu Lingling chuckled. This kid is just like his father. Although he doesn't say much, his words are all gold. I don't know what to do. Jiang Shaowei patted her son's head lovingly. Huamin couldn't stop laughing. He pulled Qin Chu aside and said, listen, your Little Bean is being despised. It's okay. Little Bean can marry Boy. Mr. Qin said calmly. Our Boy won't take the blame. Gao Ran held his son tightly and corrected him. While the adults in the audience were having fun, and Ai Yong was still thinking hard about how to answer Little Bean's question. Superstar, hurry up and answer, the MC cheered. I'll try my best to make your auntie pregnant in the shortest time possible. And Ai Yong finally stuttered and made a promise in front of everyone. Qin Zhe's cheeks also turned red. Little Bean is so fierce. But I like it. Ha! Tang Chuan laughed behind him. Qin Ning looked at the man in front of her. He wasn't pretentious and was laughing arrogantly. She suddenly felt that people like him were quite nice. At least he wasn't shrewd. At least he wasn't hard to read. Why are you looking at me like that? Tang Chuan turned around and saw Qin Ning looking at him. Chapter 2270. Can't I just take a look? Do you think I'm spending money? Qin Ning snapped. No, look all you want. If you don't like it, you can touch it. Tang Chuan snickered. Fuck off. The best man and the maid of honor fought behind them, and the wedding ended with smiles and tears. Next up was the wedding banquet. Huamin and Qin Chu paid for all the expenses. They used the best wedding banquet set from the Yunding Mountain Hot Spring Hotel, which cost as much as $38,888 per table. The banquet was full of seafood, sashimi, and other high-end dishes. The guests were extremely satisfied. There were 100 tables of banquets. Even the media was prepared to take photos and interview the guests. All the media gave good reviews. At the Hua mansion, Hua Xiqian was wearing a bathrobe and sitting in the living room with a glass of red wine in his hand. He was watching the 80-inch LCD TV. When Huamin went on stage, he was extremely focused. His subordinates stood in a row behind him, but no one dared to say a word. Isn't she beautiful? Hua Xiqian asked. One of his assistants froze for a second before realizing who Hua Xiqian was referring to. He nodded and flattered. Yes, Miss Hua is very beautiful. I haven't seen her so elegant in a long time. What a cute girl. Even her words are so interesting. Hua Xiqian praised Huamin's performance as he sipped on his wine. Boss, since you miss Miss Hua so much, why don't we invite her to our house? Although his assistant used the word invite, based on their current relationship, Huamin would have to be forceful or even kidnap her. Forget it. It's New Year's Eve, why make things difficult for her? With that, Hua Xiqian picked up his phone and dialed a number. Huamin was busy greeting guests at the wedding, so she picked up the call without looking at the caller ID. Oh. Hello, I'm Huamin, she said breathlessly. Happy New Year, Mion. Huasiqian smiled slightly and said in a magnetic voice. Hearing Huasiqian's voice, Huamin stopped smiling. What do you want? Nothing, I just miss you and want you to come home. Huasiqian meant the Hua mansion. Are you delusional, Huasiqian? Huamian. Don't be so agitated. I was just thinking about it. I won't do anything to you. The live broadcast just now was very exciting. Your performance was very outstanding. My girl. Every time Huasiqian said something so mushy, Huamin felt a chill run down her spine. If that's what you're calling to say, then I'm sorry, but I'm busy. Then Huamian hung up the phone. What's wrong? Qin Chu saw that Huamin wasn't in a good mood and walked over. Nothing, it's just a prank call, Huamin said evasively as she held onto Qin Chu's arm and continued greeting the guests. After the twins left the stage, their grandparents carried them to sit with Ni Yang's mother, little brother, and Qin Zhe's parents. Huamian had arranged for all the people at this table to be her elders, who were very close to her. Tang Chuan and Qin Ning walked to the lounge to get changed. You're wearing too little, come here and wear mine. Tang Chuan saw that Qin Ning's gown was too revealing, so he took off his jacket and put it on her. How is this considered too little? Qin Ning looked down at her gown, thinking that Tang Chuan's words were ridiculous. It's not that you're wearing too little, it's that your breasts are too big. Haha, that's why people's imaginations run wild. Tang Chuan laughed. Chapter 2271. Despicable. Only a despicable person like you would think of something so despicable. Qin Ning glared at him. Then the two went back to the lounge to get changed. Just then Jixing walked out of the bathroom limp and exhausted. His face was pale. Hey bro, where were you? The wedding is over and you're only coming out now? Tang Chuan teased him. Don't mention it, I don't know what I ate, but I had diarrhea a dozen times. My legs are weak. But what did you just say? The wedding is over? What should I do? I'm the best man. Jixing's face paled. Don't worry, I was your substitute. Tang Chuan patted Jixing's shoulder in all seriousness. You scared me to death, I thought I screwed up. Thank you, big brother Chuan. Jixing, an honest kid, didn't know what happened and was still thanking Tang Chuan. It's okay, don't mention it, we're all buddies. Then you guys go get changed, I'll go take a look. Jixing held his stomach and walked out. Tang Chuan smiled proudly. Qin Ning glanced at him. Little Chuan, can you be any more shameless? How am I shameless? You drugged him and made him unable to be the best man, and now you're here pretending to be a virgin. How can you be so shameless? Let me correct you, I didn't drug him. That was sausage tea, it's good for health, got it? I was detoxifying Jixing, okay? You're so shameless. Jixing is such an honest kid. If only he had half of my sister-in-law's IQ. Then you wouldn't have bullied him. I didn't bully him. Don't talk nonsense, little Ning. Plus, I did it for you. For some reason Qin Ning blushed even though she knew he was joking with Tang Chuan. Ning, your face is so red. Tang Chuan looked down and carefully looked at Qin Ning. Ahem, it's a bit hot in here, is the air conditioning too high? Qin Ning purposely found an excuse. Tang Chuan turned around and looked at the air conditioner switch. No, the air conditioner isn't on. Well, it's hot. If I say it's hot, then it's hot. Qin Ning corrected her. You're right. It's hot. It's really hot. It's like the Sahara Desert. How about we take off our clothes and take a bath together? Tang Chuan teased her on purpose. Fuck off. Qin Ning was speechless. He picked up a pillow and threw it at Tang Chuan. Tang Chuan didn't even dodge. He caught the pillow with his bare hands and hugged it in his arms. So, Ning, by giving me a pillow, are you hinting that I can sleep with you? Tang Chuan, come here. I want to see you. Qin Ning gritted her teeth and smiled. Don't go over there. You'll strangle me to death. Tang Chuan hid far away after saying that. Hurry up and get out, I'm going to change. Go ahead. I'll close my eyes. No, only a ghost would believe you. Qin Ning was so angry that her face turned red. You're wrong about that. Even a ghost wouldn't believe me. Tang Chuan continued to tease her. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. I'll go out. You can change on your own. After saying that, Tang Chuan was about to leave. Suddenly he thought of something. He walked up to Qin Ning and pulled her zipper forcefully. With a rip, the zipper came down, exposing her entire back. Tang Chuan, what are you doing? Qin Ning was about to break down and screamed hysterically. Chapter 2272. Without any warning, he unzipped her dress. Why are you so excited? If I don't help you, who'll help you when I get out? No need to thank me. Then Tang Chuan ran away with a pillow. Qin Ning was about to get mad, but the door was already closed. In the end, she smiled helplessly and took off her dress. The banquet didn't end until 10 p.m. Huamin was annoyed by all the noise, so he hid on the balcony to enjoy the breeze. And walked over and stood behind him. President Hua. And had been Huamin's driver and bodyguard for 3 years, so they were very familiar with each other. President Hua, President Su is drunk. Can you go see him? Anne's voice was very low, as if he was begging Huamin. Drunk? Huamin was surprised. So you hadn't been drunk in a long time. Especially in a crowded place, he would try his best to stay calm. Yeah, maybe he's hiding too many things in his heart. Today he said it out loud, and guessed. Where is he right now? Huamin asked. In the hallway behind the hotel. Okay, I'll go see him. Since An said so, Huamin wouldn't feel at ease if he didn't go. She cared about Su Yu's feelings. Qin Chu held the twins' hands and continued to work in the hall. Huamin wore a dark blue dress and walked towards the hallway behind the hotel. So you didn't drink that much. Maybe it was because he wasn't in a good mood, so he felt a little dizzy. Then he hid here alone and looked at the snowy scenery. Yunding Mountain was covered in snow all year round. During the New Year, the wind was bone-chilling. However, one could see the most beautiful snowy scenery and hanging trees. In the north, people called it the Holy Mountain. After Qin Chu returned to GK, he started building the most beautiful ski resort in the country. Therefore, Yunding Mountain became more and more prosperous. The local government even cooperated with GK to build an airport and bring tourists from all over the country to ski and soak in the hot springs. Su Yu stood in a good spot to look at the snow. He held a glass of champagne in his hand and stared into the distance. Huamin walked over and stopped beside him. Can I have a sip of the champagne? I'm a little thirsty. Huamin smiled. Su Yu tilted his head and looked at Huamian with tenderness in his eyes. Here. But don't get drunk, Su Yu. I wasn't the one who was drunk. Huamian corrected her. Su, you're so sober. It seems like you're not drunk. And is making a fuss over nothing. Huamin took a sip of the champagne. Huamin took small sips of the champagne. Her lips looked especially seductive under the reflection of the glass. Su Yu didn't know if he was really drunk or if he was delusional. For a moment he wanted to rush up and kiss her. However, a voice in his heart kept reminding him not to do that. Otherwise he might not even be friends with her in the future. Su Yu was conflicted and tried his best to restrain himself. What are you thinking about? Huamin looked up and saw that Su Yu's gaze was a little strange. No, nothing. I just thought what you said on stage was pretty good. I said it on the spot. I didn't prepare a script. What's so good about it? It's all the truth. It can't be shown on stage. Sometimes the truth is the most heartwarming. And I Yong is lucky to have a sister like you, Su Yu sighed. He's also lucky to have a boss like you. Huamin smiled. Su Yu said gently. Yes. I suddenly have a crazy idea, Su Yu said slowly. What idea? Huamin looked at Su Yu's handsome side profile curiously. Chapter 2273. I plan to be single for the rest of my life. After speaking, Su Yu let out a deep breath, as if a huge rock had been lifted from his heart. Single for the rest of your life? Huamin frowned slightly. Yes, that means I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. Isn't that awesome? Su Yu smiled casually. But Huamin's face instantly fell and his heart sank. Because there won't be another Huamin in this world. Su Yu looked at Huamin and said seriously. Huamin felt as if something was tugging at his heart. Then he looked at Su Yu and smiled, changing the topic. I'm just kidding, don't be nervous, it has nothing to do with you. I'm used to being single and I think this kind of life suits me. Actually, being married doesn't mean being happy, and being single doesn't mean being unlucky. Everyone has the right to choose their own way of life. When we were born, we were one person and we can't leave at the same time, so when we leave, we'll still be alone. Living alone, as long as you have a good attitude, it's a kind of happiness. You're smart, you should understand what I mean. Su Yu rarely spoke so seriously. However, every time he spoke like this, Huamin's heart ached. You're right, but Lord Su and the others. Huamin was worried about the Su family's feelings. To be honest, Mion, I don't care so much. Sometimes, people think too much and carry too many things and responsibilities. That's why they're unhappy. I don't want to be that kind of person. Maybe you guys think that I'm selfish, that I only have myself in my heart. I really don't care so much. But you're the only heir of the Su family. If you don't continue the family line. Huamin wanted to say something, but he stopped. Why are you as stubborn as my grandfather? What era are we living in? People in other countries don't care about these things, but we in China always want to continue the family line and have sons. But what happens after that? So what? Even if my generation is not broken, what about the next generation? How do you know that my children and grandchildren will have the same thoughts as me? What if I meet someone who has the same thoughts as me in the future and doesn't want to get married and have children? So, don't think about it. It's meaningless. Suyu waved his hand and smiled. I know I have no right to interfere with your thoughts and I don't want to persuade you. I just want to say, fate is a wonderful thing. Some people come early and some people come late. But in the end there will be arrangements, so don't jump to conclusions too early. Maybe your other half is on the way. When you meet the one you really like, you won't be so free and easy. Really? Then I'll wait and see. In short, I'm enjoying this kind of life now. However, I have a small request that you have to promise me. Suyu rarely acted like a spoiled child. Moreover, she was acting coquettishly in front of Huamin. This was the first time she had done so since they had known each other. Huamin suddenly felt that Lord Su's demeanor was very cute. Okay, what is it? If I'm really going to be alone in the future, can you let the twins be my goddaughters? If I'm old, there will be someone to take care of me. Don't leave me in a nursing home. That's so miserable. You're thinking too far ahead. Huamin laughed. You're still laughing. I'm talking about such a serious topic with you. So you looked wronged. Chapter 2274. Okay, I won't laugh. I promise you that even if we have a second or third child, they'll call you their godfather, okay? Don't worry, we'll make sure you have a lot of children. Huamin was just joking. However, Suyu heard the key words. He stopped smiling and looked at Huamin seriously. You're planning to have a second child? So, are you pregnant? Suyu's voice was very low. However, Huamin still heard it clearly. What are you thinking? I just said it casually. What pregnancy? Mr. Qin and I are very casual about having a second child. We'll let nature take its course. If it comes, we'll take it. If it doesn't, we won't force it. Huamin explained. Suyu nodded. Just then Huamin's phone rang. Oh, honey. Okay, I'll be right there. After hanging up, Huamin smiled apologetically. Urtsu, we should go back. It's over. As the CEO of Imperial Star, you have to talk to the media about official matters. Mr. Qin is coaxing Pudding and Little Bean to sleep. You and I will be interviewed by the media for 15 minutes. Is that okay? No problem. Scope. Then Suyu and Huamin came back from the corridor behind the hotel and were interviewed by the media in the lobby. When everything was over, it was already past 11 p.m. All the guests had left. For those who didn't, Huamin asked the hotel to arrange suites for them. Suyu was going to leave, but it snowed in the middle of the night and the road was bad. Huamin tried his best to persuade him to stay and booked a presidential suite for him and N. However, Tang Chuan shamelessly went to join in the fun. You're glowing these days. Suyu looked at Tang Chuan. Yeah, I've been like this ever since Ningning came back. Then if she leaves again, will you still die? Suyu choked him. I won't let her go. Even if she really leaves, I'll go with her. Tang Chuan made up his mind. Still going? Didn't you come back with your tail between your legs last time? You're really shameless, Master Tang. Suyu gave him a thumbs up. It's useless to care about your face. The most important thing is to have a wife. No matter what Suyu said, Tang Chuan wasn't angry. When Huamin returned, Qin Chu had just finished showering. Honey, are they asleep? Huamin whispered. Yes, they're all asleep. Qin Chu nodded while drying his hair with a towel. It was extremely tempting. Huamin ran over like a little bird and jumped into Mr. Qin's arms. What are you doing? Mr. Qin was shocked. Honey, thank you for your hard work. You're so thoughtful. Qin Chu looked down at Huamin with a smile. Of course, you're the hero this time. Your team came up with the wedding plan, you paid for the banquet, and you contacted the media. Anyways, everything went well. All I did was say a few words on stage. Honey, you're the best. Wow, Dr. Hua has grown up. He's thoughtful and knows how to suck up to his husband. He's becoming more and more like Little Bean, Chin Chu praised. I'm going to learn from Little Bean. Look at how popular she is. Although she's not as smart as her sister, she has a lot of connections. Everyone likes her. Huamin was full of pride when he talked about his 2 babies. Okay, go take a shower and rest early. You've had a long day, Chin Chu said worriedly. I'll take a shower later, Huamin said with a red face. What are you going to do now? Chin Chu froze and looked at Huamin's strange expression. Chapter 2275. Huamin didn't say anything. Chin Chu immediately understood what she meant and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Dr. Hua, please. Can you be more professional at a time like this? Am I not professional enough? Huamin didn't want to admit defeat. Honey, Mr. Chin asked subtly. Huamin nodded shyly. Yeah, I want a second child. She was even more subtle. Mr. Chin's lips curved up slightly as he lifted Huamin up. In order not to disturb the twins in the other room, Mr. Chin carried her into a bathroom that was a little further away. After a tiring day, only Chin Chu and Huamin were still in the mood. Huamin laid on top of Chin Chu, breathing heavily. Honey, yeah? Will you betray me? Why are you asking this? Chin Chu reached out and gently caressed Huamin's face. I'm just worried that when I get older, you'll get tired of me and find a younger and prettier woman. Do you think I'm that kind of person? Mr. Chin asked. You're not. Then you're right, don't think too much. That day won't come. Chin Chu hugged Huamin tightly. He held her against his chest as if he was afraid that he would lose her at any moment. Huamin didn't say anything. She leaned against Chin Chu's chest and quietly enjoyed this beautiful moment. Anai Yang's wedding was over. Everyone returned to their normal lives. Qin Ning didn't want to go back to her normal life. Qin Ning was surprised that she wasn't planning to go back to the States. Chin Chu's second uncle had called her several times to urge her to go back, but she was hesitant. Since Chin Chu's parents moved back, Xixin and Yang Myung moved back to their old house at Sky Blessing Court. That way they had a lot more freedom. In the morning, Chin Chu and Huamin went to work. The twins began to turn the house upside down. Qin Ning put on some makeup, put on a pair of jeans and an orange cashmere coat and walked out. Auntie, you're dressed so flirtatiously, where are you going? Pudding stopped her, and there was still unfinished cream on the corner of her mouth. I'm going out for a walk. I'm bored with you 2 brats all day, Qin Ning said purposely. Pudding was sending a WeChat message. Auntie, you're really just going out for a walk? Aren't you going out with Uncle Tang? Of course not. Don't talk nonsense. Qin Ning suddenly felt guilty. Auntie, you've been glowing lately. Ever since you came back from Uncle and I Yang's wedding, I've noticed something different about you. Hurry up and tell me the truth. Are you dating someone? Little Bean demanded. What? What do you mean? Is Ningming in a relationship? Old Madam Qin asked curiously when she heard her granddaughter's conversation. Auntie, it's nothing. Don't listen to Pudding and Little Bean, it's nothing. Then Qin Ning ran out in a hurry. She didn't want to confront the twins anymore. If it's nothing, then what's going to happen? Is she going to come home with a big belly? Pudding sighed. Don't talk nonsense, Pudding. Don't talk about Auntie like that. Mrs. Qin thought Pudding was being ridiculous and immediately stopped her. Then Pudding walked over and sat down beside Pudding. Sis, do you think we should get involved in this matter? How? Pudding didn't even look at her. Chapter 2276. Should we tell Daddy and Mommy? Should we keep an eye on Auntie or something? You're overthinking it. It's impossible that Daddy and Mommy don't know about this. From what I see, Daddy trusts Uncle Tang's character, which is why he allowed him to be close to Auntie. Otherwise, with Daddy's personality, he would break someone's leg if they tried to do something to his sister. Pudding didn't think much of it. You're right. Pudding looked at her sister with admiration. When it came to analyzing situations and thinking logically, Pudding's brain worked faster than Pudding's. Southside Recuperation Center Chinjia was on wedding leave and wasn't back yet. Huamin and his new assistant weren't familiar with each other yet, so he did most of the work himself. Vice Director Hua, someone's looking for you. Come in. Huamin was busy reviewing documents and didn't even look up. Then she heard the office door being pushed open and footsteps coming in. Mion, Huamin looked up at the familiar voice. He was immediately overjoyed. Xiaoshu. Huamin immediately stood up, walked out and enthusiastically shook Wu Xiaoshue's hand. Long time no see. You're the vice director now. Wu Xiaoxue was wearing a dark blue coat and was dressed elegantly. Maybe it was because she stayed in the States for too long, but her aura changed drastically. Don't tease me. It's all because President Wu took care of me and promoted me. Come sit. Huamin pulled over a chair for Wu Xiaoxue to sit down. Then he saw the man behind Wu Xiaoxue. It was Ning Ziyuan holding his daughter's hand. Happy New Year, Huamin. Ning Ziyuan smiled. Happy New Year. Huamin nodded and smiled back. After Ning Ziyuan went to the States, Huamin never heard from him again. The only few times he had heard about him it was from Director Wu, and he had always been very casual about it. She heard that the couple had opened a clinic there, specializing in treating the local Chinese. They were quite famous. Now that he saw Ning Ziyuan, it really felt like a lifetime had passed. His appearance did not change much, but his aura was indeed completely different. Ning Ziyuan was wearing a black cashmere coat, which was similar to Wu Xiaoxue's. It was simple and elegant. Around his neck was a classic Burberry scarf with silver-rimmed glasses. He looked very elegant. The scumbag temperament was completely gone. It had to be said that time and environment could really change a person completely. Ning Ziyuan was holding the hand of a little girl. She was already very tall and looked very similar to Ning Ziyuan. Huamin immediately squatted down and touched her little face. This is little Xinyu, right? She's so big already. Xinyu, call her Auntie Mian, Wu Xiaoxue said. Hello, Auntie Mian. The little girl's voice was sweet and adorable. Oh, that's great. Xinyu is already so tall. She's only a year older than our pudding and little bean, but she's much taller. Maybe it has to do with the environment there. The people there eat beef and milk, so they're very healthy. Many of my Chinese friends' children are also very well developed. Wu Xiaoxue smiled. When did you guys come back? Why didn't you call me? Huamin looked at Wu Xiaoxue warmly. We came back on the 29th and spent the new year with my parents and uncle. Uncle hasn't been very healthy these past few years, so we didn't want to torture him too much. Plus, Ziyuan's parents also miss their children. After the new year we went back to Ziyuan's hometown. Didn't we just come back? Since you're already at work we came to Southside to see you. I heard you gave birth to twin daughters, congratulations. Ning Ziyuan looked at Huamin with a gentleness that hadn't been seen in a long time. Chapter 2277. Thank you. Huamin nodded at Ning Ziyuan. Although he was polite, his eyes were distant. Huamin felt like Ning Ziyuan was a lifetime ago. Plus, there wasn't much love or hate between them. Mian, where are the twins? Why don't we have dinner together? The baby went with her grandparents to visit some relatives of the Qin family. Unfortunately, Wu Xiaoxue didn't come at the right time and didn't see the twins. Oh, it's okay. Let's find a time to get together before we leave. We can have dinner together, Wu Xiaoxue suggested enthusiastically. Okay, let's contact each other on WeChat. Before they left, Huamin gave Wu Xinyu a red envelope of 6,600 yuan as a token of appreciation. Wu Xiaoxue and Huamin argued for a long time before she accepted the red envelope. Huamin was no longer in the mood to work. He suddenly remembered something from a long time ago. Back then Wu Xiaoxue was at loggerheads with her because of Ning Ziyuan. She was negligent and almost caused the death of a pregnant woman. Huamin saved the pregnant woman out of kindness and caused a storm. Fortunately, Mr. Qin helped to clean up the mess. Thinking back, she never thought that she would be so close to Wu Xiaoxue one day, visiting each other like old friends. Thinking back, she never thought that she would be able to congratulate Ning Ziyuan one day with a smile. There was no emotion in her eyes. Thinking back, she never thought that one day, everything would be in the past. Everyone around her was just a passerby. Only Qin Chu stayed with her to this day, just like when they were young. He never left her. When they walked out of Southside Recuperation Center, Wu Xiaoxue held on to Ning Ziyuan's arm. Ning Ziyuan hugged Xinyu lovingly. The couple walked slowly and chatted as they walked. Ziyuan, tell me the truth. You loved her, right? After hearing this, Ning Ziyuan was silent for a while. Then he nodded. Yes. Then why did you? Wu Xiaoxue didn't finish her sentence. You want to ask why I didn't give Huamian an explanation back then? If I didn't do what I did, someone like her wouldn't have left me so easily, even if it was out of responsibility, right? Ning Ziyuan finished Wu Xiaoshue's question for her. Yes. Now that I think about it, I was young and hot-blooded back then. There are some things that the more you like, the more you're afraid of losing. I knew that she had a boyfriend that she loved deeply overseas, and I knew that he was always in her heart. I also knew that I never entered her heart. So when everything happened, I was so repulsed and hysterical. It all came from my lack of confidence in myself. I knew that I wasn't the man that Huamin liked. I was just a necessity for her to live an ordinary life. The moment Qin Chu came back, I felt like I had returned to my rightful owner. So, I acted like a child and threw a tantrum and even acted like a rascal. You're pretty objective to judge yourself like that. Wu Xiaoxue tilted her head and smiled at Ning Ziyuan. Look at how old I am. So many things have happened over the years, it's time for me to move on. She has a kind heart and a strong soul. My family is a medical family and my uncle and grandpa are both excellent doctors. They've always wanted me to do the best I can. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I try, I can't be like Huamin. She's the youngest vice director in the country. She's won so many international awards, I can only look up to her. Xion, don't you think I'm a failure? Wu Xiaoxue sighed. Chapter 2278. Ning Ziyuan looked at his wife gently and comforted her. Xiaoxue, everyone has their own destiny. You shouldn't compare yourself like this. Huamin is certainly outstanding, but you're not bad either. I think that anyone who works hard and believes in a good life is not bad. Oh, Dr. Ning actually knows how to use chicken soup for the soul. Wu Xiaoxue smiled coquettishly. Sometimes chicken soup needs to be nourished. The couple chatted and laughed as they left. Deputy Director Guo was getting busier and busier. He rarely came back to the south side. Every week, Huamin would host the general meeting. After the new year, she threw herself into her busy work. Although she was tired, she felt fulfilled. In the afternoon, after seeing patients, she prepared to organize the information. When she put her phone aside, she received a WeChat notification. She opened it and saw that it was indeed a WeChat group for her, Jiang Shaowei and Zhu Lingling. Zhu Lingling, women come out. Jiang Shaowei, Mrs. Director, please tell me what to do. Zhu Lingling, Dr. Jiang, don't mess around. Compared to a rich lady like you, my title as the director's wife is just an empty title. Huamin, it's the first month of the lunar year. Is it really okay for you two to kiss each other's ass on WeChat? Zhu Lingling, oh, it's not easy to get Deputy Director Hua to come out. Jiang Shaowei, Deputy Director Hua, you're not busy? Huamin, you two are really worrying. No matter how busy I am, I can't handle your continuous calls. Zhu Lingling, how about a family dinner this weekend? Jiang Shaowei, not bad, not bad. We haven't gotten together in a long time. Huamin, nonsense. Didn't we just get together on the 8th day of the lunar year at my brother and I Yang's wedding? Zhu Lingling, that doesn't count. There are too many people and it's too noisy. Why don't you guys come to my house? Although my house isn't a villa or a mansion and can't be compared to yours, the atmosphere at my house is warm and cozy. Then we'll go grocery shopping in advance and each of us can make 4 specialties. How about that? Jiang Shaowei, forget about my signature dish. My husband said that it's a disaster for me to cook for him. Zhu Lingling, your husband is right. The memory of the kola chicken wings you made for us last time is still fresh in my mind. It makes me want to throw up whenever I see chicken wings. Huamin watched the conversation between Zhu Lingling and Jiang Shaowei and almost spat out the tea in his mouth. Jiang Shaowei, so, can't we have a nice chat? Zhu Lingling, of course. How about this? Mian and I will cook 6 dishes each and we'll share your share. You can wash the vegetables and help us. What do you think? Jiang Shaowei, that's a good idea. Deal. Zhu Lingling, what about Vice Director Hua? Any questions? Huamin, is it a Sunday? No problem. Let's get together. It's been a while since we've had fun together. Zhu Lingling, oh then it's decided. Come to my house at 9 a.m. this weekend. Bring your family. I'll prepare all the vegetables and fruits. Then we'll have a good day and relax. After chatting with them on WeChat for a while, Huamin and the doctors began their ward rounds. After a round of rounds, Huamin saw that it was almost time to get off work. Then he began to tidy up his desk. Hua Xiqian came in at this time. He was very familiar with her new office. The moment he looked up and saw Hua Xiqian, Huamin frowned slightly. Are you going to ask me why I'm here? I even memorized your lines. Huasiqian looked at Huamin with a smile. I don't think you're welcome here, Huamin said bluntly. I know. Huasiqian nodded. Since you know your place, shouldn't you leave early? It's better for everyone. Huamin asked him to leave. I won't take up too much of your time. I came here to give you a New Year's gift. Then Huasiqian picked up a big red brocade box with a red ribbon tied on it. Happy New Year, my Mian. Huasiqian smiled gently. Chapter 2279. Take it away. I don't care what it is, I don't want it, Huamin immediately refused. You can throw it away if you don't want it. It's up to me to give it to you. Mian, it's been too peaceful lately. I have a feeling that a storm is coming. Remember, no matter what happens, no matter what difficulties you face, I will always be by your side. I won't let anyone hurt you. Huasiqian said something very strange. Don't try to scare me. I won't believe you. I won't even believe a single word you say. Huamin was obviously prejudiced against Huasiqian. It's New Year, but you haven't grown up yet. You're still like a kid. But it's okay. I know you're getting off work, so I won't disturb you. I'm leaving. Huasiqian looked at Huamin with satisfaction and walked out. At the door, he suddenly remembered something. He stopped and turned around to look at Huamin. It's New Year's Eve. You must be happy, right? I heard Lu Yen is back. Huasiqian's words made Huamin's expression change drastically. Huamin wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. He was terrified. Don't look at me like that. Don't be afraid. Huasiqian smiled slightly. I know about your relationship with Ian. Are you going to tell him about Yan's whereabouts? Huamin regretted his words. He was too impatient. If Huasiqian was just trying to trick him, then he would have exposed Yan's whereabouts. My little sister sure knows a lot. Huasiqian continued to smile. Huamin stared into his eyes anxiously. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. What's between Lu Yen and Ian is their own business. Besides, Lu Yen always comes and goes in a hurry. Even if I tell Ian now, it's too late. I think she'll leave in less than 3 hours, right? Why didn't you tell Ian about my whereabouts? I heard that he's been looking for me all these years. Huamin suddenly thought of a very serious problem. Silly girl, how could you ask such a stupid question? So annoying and funny at the same time. Huasiqian looked at Huamin affectionately. I'm not going to discuss this with you. Remember, if you're in danger, I'll be more concerned and worried about you than Qin Chu. I'll be more willing to risk my life than he is. Huasiqian turned around after he finished speaking. Huamin was still feeling uneasy. She didn't know why, but every time she saw Huasiqian she would feel uneasy. Especially when she thought about the possibility that he had another personality, she couldn't help but shudder. The red brocade box on the table was very eye-catching. Huamin opened it with her bare hands. Inside was a Chinese New Year's dress. It was a red Chinese cheongsam, but it had been modified and the sleeves were inlaid with pearls. It looked extremely elegant and luxurious. She didn't know what he was planning to give her this dress on New Year's Eve. Huamin didn't even think about it. She put the gift box away and sealed it in the cupboard under her office. She wouldn't wear anything Huasiqian gave her. But she also wouldn't throw it away. She didn't want to anger him and do something bad to Yen or the twins. Yunding Mountain Hotel. Cici and Rick were still here on vacation. After Ni Yang's wedding, everyone left. Only the two of them stayed. Cici liked this place because she liked the white snow. Rick, do you think I should change my name? Cici hugged Rick's neck coquettishly. What name? Rick was surprised. I won't be called Nyelingxi anymore. I'll be called Nye Xiaoxia. I think it's better to call her Nye Xiaoqian, Rick replied with a serious expression. Chapter 2280. Cici, your joke is so cold. Rick, I'm serious. Cici. Just as Cici was about to speak, she heard a knock on the door. Rick turned around with a serious expression. Come in. Godfather, we really should go. There's some trouble in the States, Rick's subordinate said as he looked at Cici, treating her as a burden. I got it. You can leave now. Rick's expression was still indifferent. No one could tell if he was happy or angry. But Godfather, we don't have much time left. If this goes on, before the man could finish his words, he was kicked out by Rick. Get out. The man was so scared that he didn't dare to say another word. He immediately closed the door and retracted his head. Then Cece bit her lips and sat beside Rick. She held his hand and said, "Rick, you've been with me for a few days now. I know you're someone who's going to do great things. There's a lot of things waiting for you to do. So, don't stay with me all the time. Although I really want to be with you, I'm not an immature person. It's okay. Don't think too much." Rick held Cece's hand and comforted her gently. "I don't want to be a burden to you, and I won't persuade you to quit like a saint. After all, you were born in that kind of environment. I know there are many things you can't do, and it's not easy for you to quit. So if you're busy, go do what you have to do. As long as you have me in your heart, you can come back to see me when you miss me." Cece obviously didn't have much confidence in the latter part of her sentence. In fact, she was very afraid of being separated from Rick. They had been separated for more than 3 years, and it was long enough. She wanted to stay with him for even a moment. But she knew it was impossible and didn't want to put pressure on Rick. "But your injuries haven't healed yet." Rick put his arm around Cece's shoulder and leaned against her, his heart aching. "My injuries are fine now. Didn't Sister Mion say that I just need to rest in the future? It's okay. You just need to recover. Nothing else is important." Rick decided to prioritize Cece's injuries. During this period of time, he had stayed in the country for so long. Many things were remotely controlled by phone, but it was still not as convenient as being there in person. Therefore, there was indeed some trouble in the United States, but it was nothing compared to Cece's injury. Rick spent the new year with Cece and spent more than 10 days at the hot spring hotel before and after the new year. This was something he had never experienced before. In the past 3 years, he didn't even dare to think about such leisurely days. "Rick, the hotel is a bit boring. Why don't we go back to Sea City and find Sister Mion? I miss the twins." "Okay, you decide." Rick had always been a man of few words. As long as it was something Cece liked, he would agree. Just like that, Rick and Cece returned to Sea City. Cece was going to bring him to meet her family. After all, they were truly in a relationship, so meeting the parents was inevitable. However, because of Rick's identity, he was afraid that he would implicate Cece's family. In the end, he decided not to visit them. That night, Rick went to look for Chin-Chu to catch up. Cece dressed up beautifully and went home to have dinner with her parents. Although her parents complained that she was unreliable for going out to play during the new year, they still forgave their younger daughter and didn't ask about her whereabouts. After dinner, Cece pushed open the door and entered her sister's room. "Hi, sis, what are you doing?" Seeing her sister suddenly barge in, Nia Lingxian immediately put down the things in her hands and looked a bit unnatural. Chapter 2281. "Oh, what are you doing? Knitting a scarf? A man's style?" Cece giggled when she saw the dark blue yarn. "Don't gossip." Her sister blushed. "You have someone you like? Is this for President Su?" Cece knew what her sister was thinking. "I don't know if he'll accept it." Nia Lingxian bit her lip nervously. "Sis, there are so many good men out there, why do you like Suyu?" Cece tried to persuade her sister. "Then why haven't you been in a relationship for the past few years? Is it because you can't forget that handsome mixed-blood guy?" Her sister asked. I'm not like you. I've dated him before, but you're in love with him. I'm not trying to discourage you, but I think you and Suyu should just forget about it. He's not reliable. He's had so many women in the past few years, but have you ever seen him fall in love with anyone? Even someone as scheming as Jian Tong couldn't win him over. Suyu is terrifyingly obsessed with Sister Mion. I know this, so I really don't want to see you fall in love with him." Cece knew about Suyu's feelings for Huamin, so she had been trying to persuade her sister not to fall in love with Suyu. However, love wasn't something that could be controlled by humans. If it was, there wouldn't be so many infatuated men and women in this world, nor would there be so many heartbroken people who wanted to die because of breakups. "Cece, I know what I'm doing. I don't want anything, and I won't confess to President Su. I just want to be good to him and be good to him in secret." "But you'll fall deeper and deeper." "I won't, I know what I'm doing. Your profession is special. If you don't have a boyfriend, what will you do when you're past your prime? Whether you find a rich man, an elite, or a commoner, there's bound to be someone suitable for you. Sis, you're a few years older than me, don't make mom and dad worry about you. Okay, little girl, don't lecture me as soon as you come back." "I know, I understand everything you're saying." Her sister didn't say anything more. She picked up the scarf and knitted it silently. Cece's heart ached as she watched. Suyu was indeed a good man, but he only had Huamin in his heart. The whole world knew this, but was it really okay for Big Sister to like Suyu so much? After spending some time with her sister, Cece returned to her room and called Huamin. He planned to treat Qin Chu and Huamian to a meal with Rick, especially for his difficult surgery. Huamin didn't have time for the next few days, so he invited Cece and Rick to a party on the weekend. At a roadside stall on the pedestrian street, the ice and snow couldn't dampen everyone's enthusiasm. The streets were decorated with red lanterns and colored lights, giving off a festive vibe. Tang Chuan was wearing a black down jacket as he strolled around with Qin Ning. Qin Ning held the candied haws in her hands and ate happily. "Isn't our hometown better?" Tang Chuan asked. "Yeah, it's good. Of course you can't feel this atmosphere in Los Angeles," Tang Chuan said proudly. "There's a Chinatown in Los Angeles, okay? Don't make it sound like I'm from the countryside." Qin Ning rolled her eyes. "There's a Chinatown in Los Angeles, but there's no young Master Tang in Los Angeles," Tang Chuan said as he took a bite of the candied haws in Qin Ning's hands. Instantly, the haws and candied haws fell into Qin Ning's hands. Chapter 2282. Tang Chuan, you damn bastard. Come back here. Qin Ning, who was obsessed with cleanliness, threw a bowl of sticky candy and broken hawthorns at Tang Chuan. Then Tang Chuan ran 2 steps forward. Qin Ning yelled angrily behind him. The passers-by all thought it was a couple arguing and watched with interest. There was even a woman with a child. The little girl pointed at them enviously. "Mom, look. This brother and sister are so pretty. They're a perfect match. When I grow up, I want to find a boyfriend just like this brother, okay? Okay, then you have to work hard to be outstanding." The mother comforted her daughter as she walked past Qin Ning. "What's wrong with this kid's eyes? Why does she think Tang Chuan is a model boyfriend? Does she have no taste?" Qin Ning heard this and saw Tang Chuan turn around and walk back. He was about to flip out. He saw Tang Chuan holding a small warm bowl in his hand. He held it up with both hands. "Try it. Is it good?" "What's this?" Qin Ning asked curiously. She instantly forgot about the unpleasantness from just now. Sometimes when a foodie got serious, their integrity would drop to the ground. "Fresh octopus balls. This place is very famous," Tang Chuan said proudly. Qin Ning picked up a toothpick and was about to put it into her mouth when she suddenly saw Tang Chuan up close. Her face was red from the cold. Indeed, it was cruel to let this young master walk on the streets with her in the middle of winter. This young master spent his days in cars, hotels, shopping malls, and high-end restaurants. When did he suffer like this? "I thought you never came here. How do you know this place is famous? You're not tricking me, are you?" Qin Ning asked. "Of course not. I just posted it on my WeChat Moments and asked my friends. They're very familiar with each other. Some of them like to bring girls here to experience the life of a commoner, so it can't be wrong. Hurry up and eat." "Eat first. Try it for me." Qin Ning didn't care if Tang Chuan opened his mouth and fed him one. Fortunately, Tang Chuan was smart enough to open his mouth and eat one. The truth was, Qin Ning saw that he was too cold and wanted to let him eat first. But she would never admit that she cared. Sometimes a woman in love would say one thing and mean another. This was also a kind of sweet performance. "How is it? Is it good?" Qin Ning asked. "It's not good. Give it all to me." "Ha," Tang Chuan said as he tried to snatch the food. Qin Ning immediately took a step back and used a toothpick to pick up a small meatball, taking small bites. Instantly, he felt the fragrance in his mouth overflow, and he was filled with happiness. "How is it? I didn't lie to you, did I?" Tang Chuan smiled. "This is so good. I want more. Go and buy another bowl." Qin Ning was elated. "There's no rush. It's good enough to have a taste. There are still many specialties ahead. You have to save your stomach." "Oi." Qin Ning nodded happily like a child. The two of them stood by the side of the street and finished the octopus balls one bite at a time before continuing on their journey. Tang Chuan even took the time to post a selfie. He took a picture of Qin Ning's back. She was wearing a white knitted hat and a black down jacket, looking especially cute. "I got a cute pet for the new year. So cute." "Wei Liao, where did you get this pet? I want it too." Tang Chuan replied to Wei Liao, "Don't mess around. Sister-in-law Wei will kill you if she sees this." "Wei Liao, sorry, I am your sister-in-law." "Huh." Chapter 2283. Tang Chuan. I should have known that young Master Wei wouldn't be so presumptuous. Su Yu, didn't someone never post PDA on his WeChat moments? Didn't he always say that PDA is the quickest way to die? Isn't he slapping himself in the face? Tang Chuan replied to Su Yu, Lord Su, you're wrong. We're not PD. Su Yu, when it comes to sophistry I'm not used to it. You're the only one I admire. Humian, I agree with the commenter above. I'm not convinced but I'm convinced by you. Tang Chuan replied to Huimin, damn Vice Director Hua, good evening. Huimin, when are you sending my sister-in-law back? Are you staying the night? Tang Chuan replied to Huimin, ha, I wouldn't dare. Sister-in-law, give me 2 more hours. I'll send her back after we finish eating. Wei Liao, you're calling her sister-in-law already? How can you be so shameless? Tang Chuan replied to Wei Liao, I can be shameless for my wife. Su Yu, young Master Tang, I'll look down on you if you continue like this. Tang Chuan replied to Su Yu, you're talking as if you'll look down on me if I don't do this. Su Yu, in the process of bickering, Su Yu lost miserably. Su Yu was obviously not convinced. He shouted, Little Bean and Pudding, come out and save me. 3 seconds later the comments section was flooded with comments. Pudding, Uncle Tang posted that my auntie is a pet. Little Bean, a pet is a cat or a dog. Pudding, that's enough to prove that auntie is just a cat or a dog in Uncle Tang's heart. Little Bean, I've saved a screenshot. I'll show it to auntie tonight. Tang Chuan thought to himself, ladies, please spare my life. The twins each said a few words. Tang Chuan, who was so smug just now, was about to cry in an instant. Qin Ning walked in front and looked at Tang Chuan, who was playing with his phone. He was quite dissatisfied. Tang Chuan, do you want to go shopping or not? Let's go shopping, I'll go shopping. Tang Chuan immediately put away his phone and followed him. In short, he had to let Qin Ning enjoy herself tonight. Inside a Thai restaurant, Qin Chu and Rick sat facing each other. Every time they met they would not get drunk like other men. Instead he talked calmly, analyzed the situation, and then asked the other party to help him solve his confusion. I didn't expect you to stay here for so long. Qin Chu looked at Rick calmly. I didn't expect it either. How's Cece recovering? Qin Chu asked. Not bad, Rick commented. You can't underestimate a gunshot wound. Although it looks like she's recovering well, you have to remember not to make any mistakes. Otherwise it could lead to a heart attack. The place where she was shot is very sensitive, Qin Chu reminded him. Yeah, Huimin told me the same thing. What's your next plan? What do you mean? Rick raised his head and looked at Qin Chu, his eyes still calm. Both. I plan to go back to the States in a few days. As for Cece, I plan to stay with her. Stay with her? You think that's a good idea? Qin Chu frowned slightly. He didn't expect Rick to have such a plan. After all, with Rick's identity, it was extremely inconvenient to have a woman by his side. Plus, Rick had a lot of enemies. If he had Cece by his side, not only would his weaknesses be exposed, but it would also distract him. I don't have a choice even if it's not a good idea. This incident made me see a lot of things clearly. In life, if you're always overcautious, you won't be able to live a happy life. It's better to take a risk. That's a good idea. It's like cutting off all means of retreat. It's like smashing a broken pot. Rick smiled. Qin Chu raised his glass. Your Chinese is better than mine. After the two took a sip of wine, Rick asked Qin Chu, did you tell Huimin about that? Chapter 2284. Not yet. At the mention of this, Qin Chu's eyes looked a little unnatural. With her intelligence she'll definitely find out. Plus you can't hide it for long. I think it's better to tell her. We'll talk about it later. I haven't found the right opportunity. Then you... Rick looked like he wanted to ask something. However, Qin Chu raised his wine glass and stopped him. Come, let's drink. Rick had to stop the topic. He raised his glass and drank slowly with Qin Chu. When Qin Chu got home it was already past 9 p.m. The twins were still playing with their grandparents in the living room. Where's Mion? Qin Chu asked. Daddy, you love your wife the most. Every day you come back to find your wife instead of your daughter. Little Bean was jealous. Qin Chu smiled dotingly and lifted Little Bean up. Ouch. Daddy, put me down. I'm scared of heights. Let's see if you still dare to argue with Daddy. Chin Chu threatened. Ha, I was just kidding. Daddy, don't be so serious. Oh my God. Sis, come and save me. My dear sister. Little Bean was lifted over Chin Chu's head. She was so scared that she cried out for Pudding. Pudding, on the other hand, calmly interrupted. Trouble comes from careless talk. You deserve it. After playing for a while, Chin Chu put Little Bean down and patted Pudding's head. How much did my goddess of stocks make today? Not much, less than 1,000,000 yuan, Pudding replied calmly. Sis, you have to be content, okay? Many people can't earn this much in their lifetime. You earned this much in one day and you said it was only 1,000,000 yuan. It's different. It's like how people who have seen roses may like wildflowers, but people who have seen eagles will never like crows. Ha, okay, you win. Little Bean laughed so hard that she rocked back and forth. There's a stock market meeting next week. I'm going to take you there. Really? Pudding's eyes lit up. She seemed a little excited. Of course, Daddy never lies. Daddy, I want to go too. Although Little Bean wasn't interested in stocks and finance, she couldn't lose to her sister. All right. After spending some time with his daughters, Chin Chu turned around and went upstairs. Old Madam Chin sighed as she drank her tea. Back then you were worried that Chu's personality would always be so cold. Look at just now. When he looked at the two children, his eyes were about to warm up. Yes, I didn't expect that one day he would be such a loving father. It seems that I have underestimated him. Chin Chu's father sighed slightly. It's probably all thanks to Mion. He likes that girl, so naturally he likes children. If we forced him to marry someone else, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation today. Thinking back, we were really stupid back then. Mrs. Chin was a little ashamed. Grandma, did you two almost break them up? Little Bean interjected. We wanted to, but your daddy didn't give us a chance. He's so stubborn, Mrs. Chin replied. Luckily, Daddy insisted. Otherwise, we wouldn't be two adorable children. Little Bean raised her chin. Haha, my granddaughter is right. Little Bean's words made Mrs. Chin and Mr. Chin laugh. Just then, the door opened and Chin Ning came in, covered in dust with a lot of things in her hands. Oh my God, Auntie, did you go to the second-hand market? What did you buy? Little Bean jumped off the sofa and ran over. In Chin Ning's hands were all little things she bought from the pedestrian street. There were also a few dolls that she and Tang Chuan hit while throwing sandbags. So, you're having so much fun. Auntie, you're planning to stay here forever, right? Pudding asked with a smile. Kid, how long have we been here? You're already tired of me? Where's Uncle Tang? Why didn't you invite him in? So that Grandpa and Grandma can see your future husband? Ah, Little Bean said too much. Her words made the old couple look over and Chin Ning's cheeks immediately turned red. Chapter 2285. Don't talk nonsense. I doted on you guys for nothing. Whose side are you on? Chin Ning mumbled in a low voice. Ning Ning. Mrs. Chin always paid attention to family matters, so she really wanted to ask. Unfortunately, Chin Ning didn't give the old lady a chance to speak. Yeah, I'm a bit tired. I'm going upstairs to take a shower. If you have any questions, we can talk tomorrow. After that, Chin Ning lowered her head and hurried up the stairs in small, quick steps. Andy shy. She said she's not in love? Humph, who would believe that? But Uncle Tang's speed is way too fast. I thought it would take at least half a year. Auntie, you're so spineless, Little Bean pouted. Uncle Tang is already in love with her, so of course he's giving it his all. Our auntie is an unmarried girl. How can she withstand such a crazy pursuit? Pudding calmly analyzed. Yeah, you're right. Little Bean nodded thoughtfully. The twins chimed in with each other and the old couple of the Chin family was dumbfounded. They seemed to realize that they couldn't keep up with their granddaughter's conversation. Pudding, your auntie is very innocent. Don't be fooled. Why didn't you tell your dad? Mrs. Chin asked anxiously. Don't worry, Grandma. My dad already knew. Already knew? Then why did he let her fool around? Your grandpa is very busy these days and I don't think Ning Ning plans to go back to the States. The old lady was also anxious. My dad must think she's reliable. That's why he let her fool around. Grandma and your grandpa don't worry about it. Plus, my grandpa has seen that guy before. Ha, Little Bean interrupted. The old couple of the Chin family was even more confused. Don't ask them. You can ask Mion and Chu tomorrow morning. Old Master Chin suggested to stop asking his granddaughter. After all, How could a pair of 4-year-old kids be trusted? After returning to her room, Qin Ning quickly took a shower. Then she went to bed and lay under the warm blanket. She picked up her phone and saw Tang Chuan's WeChat message. For some reason she felt an inexplicable joy. Tang Chuan, Madam, are you asleep yet? Qin Ning, I'm not sleepy. Tang Chuan, if you're not sleepy, why don't we go out and have some fun? Qin Ning, fuck off. Are you trying to tire me out? My legs don't feel like they belong to me anymore. Qin Ning rubbed her thighs. She hadn't gone shopping like this in a long time. She had a lot of fun. But it was really tiring. Tang Chuan, oh my, that's too ambiguous. Those who don't know might think we're doing something. Qin Ning, get lost, get lost. Why do your words sound so dirty? No wonder my little bean called you dirty. Tang Chuan, come on, little bean said I'm dirty. Compared to her, I'm just a kid. Your little bean is the real talent. No wait, what's that saying again? The new generation surpasses the old and I'm pushed onto the beach. Qin Ning, yes, I want to slap you to death. Tang Chuan, so ruthless? Slap me to death and those two brats won't have an uncle. Qin Ning, shameless. Who said I was going to marry you? Tang Chuan, it's okay. You'll be mine sooner or later. You can't run away, huh? Although it was a joke, Qin Ning still felt sweet when she heard this conversation. Qin Ning, Tang Chuan? Tang Chuan, yeah. Qin Ning, thank you for taking me to the pedestrian mall today. I really had a lot of fun. I haven't felt so relaxed in a long time. Chapter 2286. She remembered how she used to fly back and forth between Los Angeles and New York like a trapeze. Every day she faced all kinds of big and small meetings, new product launches and weekly summaries. In short, Qin Ning had been used to this boring executive life since she was a teenager. She thought that her life would continue like this. She even thought that in the future she might marry a foreigner or one of her father's trusted subordinates and continue to be a career woman. Ever since Tang Chuan appeared, the entire scene changed. He was like a hooligan, shamelessly coming to her side and flirting with her in all kinds of ways. He was like a playboy, but she couldn't find it repulsive. Whether it was cooking for her as a nanny in the States or serving tea and water at the company, she thought he was cute. After returning to China, he didn't even stay at home during Chinese New Year. Instead, he went to the hot spring hotel and joined in the fun with her. Every day he told her jokes, gossiped, and made her happy. Occasionally he would even bicker with her. Qin Ning seemed to have fallen in love with this kind of life. She knew that even if Tang Chuan was a veteran and experienced lover, he must have fallen in love with her. After all, the person involved would know if a man truly loved her or not. After hearing Qin Ning's words, Tang Chuan still asked jokingly, "Why are you being so polite?" Qin Ning, "I'm not being polite. I'm thanking you from the bottom of my heart." Tang Chuan, "You can't say thank you with words. You have to put it into action." Qin Ning, What do you want?" Tang Chuan, "Don't be nervous, President Qin. What I mean is, if you want to thank me, send me a red packet. 5 yuan isn't too much and 500 yuan isn't too little. Alright, you can send up to 200 yuan at a time. I don't mind transferring money, huh?" Qin Ning, shameless is the word that suits you best right now. Tang Chuan, "So, do you have any more red packets?" Tang Chuan continued to tease her, but to his surprise she really sent him one. Tang Chuan knew that with Qin Ning's personality, she would never send him a 520 or a 1314. As expected, Qin Ning used direct transfer and the amount shown on the screen was 250 yuan. Qin Ning, "What? Isn't this what you want? Still not accepting?" Tang Chuan, You're going too far, aren't you? Idiot. Tang Chuan also wanted to cry, but no tears came out. This aunt of his was really not going to stop. "What? If you don't like it, why don't you reject it? It'll save me money," Qin Ning replied. I don't mind. A penny is still money. Money. I'll take it. I'll take it as a betrothal gift. Ah, President Qin, you must remember to marry me. Don't abandon me. After all, I'm already yours." Although they were separated by the phone screen, Qin Ning still blushed when she heard what Tang Chuan said. Then she smiled shyly. After a while she replied, "I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. Rest early. Don't eat breakfast at home tomorrow. I'll take you to a good place." Tang Chuan spoke in a mysterious manner. "What kind of place?" Qin Ning was curious. "Don't ask, little friend. You'll know when you get there. Go to sleep, be good. The two of them teased each other and ended the pleasant conversation. Qin Ning also fell asleep. In the other room, when Qin Chu came back, Huamin was still awake. She was sitting on the bed, wearing anti-radiation glasses and holding a laptop. He was doing some research. Honey, what are you doing? You're so serious. Qin Chu walked over dotingly, hugged Huamin and kissed her on the cheek. There was no smell of cosmetics. It was Huamin's natural body scent. It was very pleasant and Qin Chu's favorite scent. Chapter 2287. Qin Chu especially loved Huamin, who didn't wear any makeup and was wearing beige pajamas. I'm organizing some hospital information. I didn't finish it during the day. Dr. Hua is so hardworking. I guess I should ask President Wu to give you a raise and a promotion. Qin Chu chuckled. I can get a raise but not a promotion. I'm already the deputy director. If I get promoted, I'll kick President Wu out, Huamin joked. How much longer do you have? Do you need me to help you? Qin Chu didn't want his wife to work too hard, so he rested his chin on her shoulder and looked at the files on her computer. It's okay. I could have finished it at Southside today, but Xiao Xue and the others came. So, I chatted with them for a long time and got in the way. Them? Who else was there besides Wu Xiaoxue? Was it Ning Ziyuan? Qin Chu frowned slightly. Huamin immediately turned his head and rubbed Qin Chu's face with the tip of his nose. What? Is someone jealous? Someone always gets jealous. You didn't even ask me for permission on such a big thing. Dr. Hua, you're so arrogant. Qin Chu purposely pulled a long face. I've always been arrogant. What? Come bite me if you don't like it. You said it? Then I won't hold back. After Qin Chu spoke, he bit Huamin's neck. Of course, he didn't use too much force. He only nibbled lightly, but this action immediately made Huamin blush. Even a certain part of his body reacted. Stop messing around, I'm not done yet. It's okay, I won't hold you up. I'll do it myself. After speaking, Mr. Qin continued to kiss him passionately. His teasing made Huamin's neck red. Huamin felt as if there were many feathers tickling his heart. Aren't you too bad? How can I concentrate on my work when you're like this? Huamin pouted. Then why don't you cooperate with me first, and then get to work? Qin Chu smirked. You're so... Huamin didn't finish her sentence because Mr. Qin didn't even give her the chance. An hour later, Huamin walked out of the bathroom in a bathrobe. His legs still felt weak. That's too much. Huamin put his hands on his hips. Honey, we're husband and wife and this is compulsory for couples. If you weren't so tired, I would have unlocked a few new positions, Mr. Qin said with a straight face. Unlock? A new position? I can't believe you said that. Huamian covered her face with her hands. She's my wife. Why can't I say it out loud? Qin Chu leaned against the headboard and smiled proudly. Okay, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I have to get back to work. Huamin held his laptop and continued to organize documents on the chaise lounge. Cece and Rick are back. I had lunch with Rick this afternoon. Yeah, Cece called me and said she wanted to have lunch with us. But she's not free for the next few days. I thought it would be a weekend get-together, so I asked them to come together. I see. Qin Chu touched the tip of his nose. What's wrong? Is something wrong? Huamin looked at Qin Chu. No, but I don't know if we can wait until the weekend. Something happened in the States and Rick will probably leave soon. Qin Chu thought about his conversation with Rick today. Leave? What about Cece? What about Cece? Are they going to break up again? Huamian was taken aback. She thought about how hard it was for the two of them to finally be together, and how Cece almost lost her life because of it. If Rick still couldn't stay, then she would be heartbroken. Chapter 2288. He said he's going to take her with him, Qin Chu replied calmly. Take her with him? How can that be? Huamin was no longer in the mood to organize his files. He got up, walked up to the bed and leaned on Qin Chu's shoulder. Honey, we both know about Rick's situation in the States. How can Cece? Anyway, I don't think it's a good idea. Plus, that girl named Luna is always looking for Rick. I'm worried that she'll get into trouble. In a place like the US where the law is enforced, killing people is as easy as stepping on an ant. Plus, they don't give you the death penalty. Cece's so skinny, I don't think she'll be able to take it if she goes to a place like that. Rick isn't such an impulsive person. He's not impulsive. He has no other choice. After what happened this time, Rick was greatly affected. He can't leave Cece, so the best thing to do is to take her with him. Otherwise, do you think they'll be in a long-distance relationship? One in China and the other in the US. Is that appropriate? Qin Chu asked. Huamin was speechless. Mr. Qin's analysis was right, but would it be dangerous for Rick to take Cece with him? I know what you're worried about, but I think Rick has already thought of everything we've thought of. So, let's leave it to them. They're all adults, Qin Chu comforted Huamin. Okay, when are they leaving? Huamin looked up at Qin Chu and asked. They haven't said yet, but I think it'll be in a few days. Then I'll have to talk to Cece this weekend, Huamin said worriedly. The next morning, at the breakfast table, Mrs. Qin couldn't help but ask in a low voice, Mion, Mom wants to ask you something. Hey, go ahead. Huamin peeled an egg with one hand as he listened to his mother-in-law. Qinning, that girl, is she in love? Where did you hear that from? Did you hear Pudding and Little Bean talking nonsense? Don't listen to them. They're just kids. They don't know what they're talking about. Don't believe them. Huamin didn't expect Grandma Hua to ask him this question in the morning. No, I felt it myself. Look at Ningning. She used to be in a hurry every time she came back to China. She's such a career-minded child and can't wait to see what's going on at the headquarters every day. This time after the new year, she's like a different person. She doesn't even bother to leave. Your second uncle called to urge her to come back a few times, but she kept stammering and refusing. She also came back late last night. As far as I know, she doesn't have any friends here. Isn't it obvious that she has met a boy? I heard from Chu that she's from the Tang family. Is that true? Yes, it's the youngest son of the Tang family. Huamin nodded. That won't do. I firmly disagree. Upon hearing this, old Madame Qin's face immediately darkened. Mom, why don't you agree? The Tang family is also a prestigious family. Isn't that good? They're well matched in terms of social status. Huamin said in a low voice. He knew that his mother-in-law was still old-fashioned and seemed to place a lot of emphasis on family background and status. It's not that. The Tang family has a bad reputation. No matter if it's the old or the young, they have a bad reputation. Didn't the third son of the Tang family marry a much younger wife? His previous wife was a good person. I've met her before. I didn't think that he would be charmed by a vixen. Also, I heard that he's going to divorce again. This time he got an even younger wife. How unreliable. Chapter 2289. Mom, there are a lot of people in the Tang family. Not everyone is like that. You can't generalize. Huamin disagreed with his mother-in-law and tried to defend Tang Chuan. That won't do. Chu, you've always been the calmest. You don't let your emotions get the better of you, Mrs. Qin said. Huamin didn't know what to say. She raised her voice and asked her son to be the judge. What is it, Mom? Qin Chu was confused by his mother's question. It's about our Ningning and that guy from the Tang family. You have to stop them. Why should I stop them? Ningning is old. Isn't it good for her to be in a relationship? Qin Chu was calm. Dating is fine, but you have to choose the right person. The Tang family is just a bunch of people. They change women faster than they change clothes just because they have some money. If the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. They don't have good family values. No, I don't agree. Mom. Huamin wanted to say something else. I know that guy. He's your friend and often comes to our house as a guest. But you can't marry him. Son, you should know what kind of person he is. That kind of behavior is unacceptable. I'll talk to your uncle about this and ask him to take Ningning back. She can't stay here any longer. Mrs. Qin was very domineering when she was young. She liked to meddle in other people's business and make decisions inside and outside the house. She was also very against the relationship between Qin Chu and Huamin. She even made the two families hostile for many years because of this. She also made Qin Chu and Huamin separate for 7 years. Now that Mrs. Qin was acting like this, to be honest, Huamin felt very uncomfortable. It wasn't that he was against his mother-in-law, nor was he prejudiced against her. He just felt that Mrs. Qin was old and had a generation gap with young people. Mom, don't worry about this. Qin Chu obviously didn't agree with his mother. That's right, Mom. We're all old. Let's just enjoy our lives. Let the children make their own decisions. Chu's father also tried to persuade his wife. That won't do. I'm doing this for Ningning's own good. I don't care if it's an outsider. Why are all of you targeting me? The old lady was so angry that she threw the half-eaten bun on the table with a dark face. This made everyone feel very awkward. Seeing this, Huamin didn't dare to say anything. After all, they were elders. It wasn't good to quarrel so early in the morning over such a trivial matter. Therefore she gave Chu a look indicating for him to stop talking. Chu sighed slightly. Then he looked at the twins who were eating happily and said, Pudding, Little Bean, hurry up and persuade Grandma. Daddy is going to use us again. Pudding said calmly. So, Grandma is so angry and no one dares to say anything. Can we really do it? Little Bean said helplessly. The twins' cute behavior made Chu and Huamin laugh. If we don't do anything, it'll seem like we're not a part of this family. Pudding continued. Little Bean took a tissue and wiped the milk off the corner of her mouth. She sighed and said, If that's the case, let's try. After all, Daddy only asked us for help because he had no other choice. We have to give him face. Yeah, Daddy is always so nice to you. Now that Grandma is angry, shouldn't you say something? Chu looked at the twins gently. Don't try to persuade me. I'm not eating. I'm angry with you guys. Mrs. Qin was old, so her temper rose. Chapter 2290. People often said that old people were like children. Once a person got old, he or she would regain their youthfulness and become more childish. It made people angry and amused at the same time. It was also very difficult to communicate with them. Grandma, if you don't want to eat, I won't eat either. I'll starve with you. I know that starving will affect my growth, but for you I'd rather not grow taller. Little Bean expressed her determination. Oh, my little baby, you can't do that. You usually have a good appetite and can eat at least 2 meat buns. You only ate 1 today. Now you have to eat. Hearing her granddaughter's words, Lady Qin's heart softened and she tried to coax Little Bean. No, Grandma, I won't eat. I won't eat, Little Bean insisted. Good girl, Grandma will eat. You have to eat before it gets cold. Your stomach can't take it. Then Lady Qin immediately picked up the meat buns and drank the millet porridge. Little Bean gave Chu an okay sign, meaning that she was done. Pudding said slowly, Grandma, let me tell you, Uncle Tang is a very nice person. Ever since we could talk and walk, we've been playing with him. He's Handsome Sue's best friend, just like Uncle Wei. Think about it, birds of a feather flock together. Someone who can hang out with Handsome Sue and Uncle Wei can't be a bad person. You're overthinking it this time. Is that so? Lady Qin looked at Chu and then at Huamin in confusion. Yes. Tang Chuan is Su Yu's childhood friend. Chu and I have known each other for years. Mom, he's not what you think. Plus, second uncle knows that he's pursuing Ning because he went to the States and stayed with second uncle for more than a month. Really? Why didn't your second uncle mention it? Lady Qin was dumbfounded. Second uncle is so busy. He doesn't have time to talk to you about this. Chu lowered his head and drank the lemon tea. Chu's father glanced at his wife and said, See, I told you. Second brother knows what he's doing. We don't have to worry about him. So, Grandma, don't worry. Auntie won't be with a nobody, Pudding said. If that's the case, then I'll be relieved. Old Madame Qin finally stopped being pretentious. Huamin gave his 2 daughters a thumbs up. After breakfast, they walked out of the house and went to the parking lot to pick up the car. Huamin smiled and said, Hubby, your daughter is really amazing. The moment she stepped in, she immediately settled our mother. It's all thanks to my wife, Chu complimented. No, it's your family's genes that are good. No, it's because my wife is a genius. That's why they have a high EQ. Let's stop praising each other. If we don't drive out now, we'll be late. Then Huamin wrapped her arms around Mr. Qin's neck and kissed him gently on the corner of his mouth. Then they got into their respective cars and left. What are you looking at? Why are you so engrossed? Pudding walked over and saw Little Bean staring blankly out the window. Daddy and Mommy are already so old, but they're always showing off their love. It makes us single dogs suffer, Little Bean sighed. Calm down, you're only 4 years old. Even if you fall in love at 16, you'll still be single for 12 years. Pudding added. Little Bean was immediately hurt by her words. Sis, if Daddy and Mommy have a second child in the future, do you think our status will drop? Little Bean suddenly asked. What do you think? Pudding asked calmly. Daddy will love us more. After all, it's a father's nature to love his daughters. But Grandpa, Grandma, and Mommy will probably love us more. Just thinking about this makes me so annoyed. Little Bean cupped her chubby little face. I don't think so. Pudding smiled and sat down next to Little Bean. Oh. So, my awesome sis, what do you think? Little Bean tilted her head and looked at her sister with interest. Chapter 2291. I think that after Daddy and Mommy have a second child, we'll have another scapegoat. Ha! Sis, you're so smart. Little Bean laughed out loud after hearing her sister's words. Am I wrong? Haven't you noticed that Daddy and Mommy rely on us a lot? No matter what they can't solve, they always make us their scapegoats. For example, what happened at breakfast this morning? It's not like you don't know how scary Grandma is when she's angry. We were just sent to the gunpoint. Pudding bit her lip, feeling wronged. Sis, now that you mention it, I think you're right. Little Bean suddenly realized. So, I want to have a second child as soon as possible so that we can share the burden. Pudding proudly crossed her arms in front of her chest, looking serious. Little Bean lowered her head and put her 2 index fingers together as if she was thinking of a bad idea. Sis, you're right. So, I think we should help Daddy and Mommy have a second child as soon as possible. What do you think? That's Daddy and Mommy's business. How can we help? Pudding was a little dumbfounded. We can poke all the condoms in their room with needles. That way, Little Bean said with a straight face. Pudding almost choked when she heard this. Ahem, sis, are you okay? Little Bean didn't seem to realize how shocking her words were. Little Bean, you're going to kill me. I really regret not bringing a lightning rod when I talk to you, Pudding sighed. You still haven't told me what my idea is. It's pretty bad. I'm just wondering how you came up with such a dirty idea. No wonder Auntie Lingling and Auntie Xiaowei said you were dirty. Even Gao Buan was led astray by you when he played with you a few times. What's going on in that little head of yours? At this moment, Pudding suspected that she and Little Bean weren't born from the same mother. She suspected that the nurse in the room next door had misdiagnosed her. Why were their personalities so different? Come on. I'm just trying to think of a way. Little Bean looked innocent. You can't think of a way like that. Oh no, it won't work. Pudding quickly waved her hands. Why not? You don't dare? Are you afraid that Mommy will beat us up? It's not about whether I beat him up or not. Second child. Let nature take its course. Do you think giving birth is as simple as a hen laying eggs? One a day. Do you think it's for fun? Hey. I won't say it anymore. Little Bean was still feeling wronged. The topic of his parents wanting a second child came to an end. However, after listening to Pudding's analysis, Little Bean had a new perspective on this matter. She seemed to be hoping that Daddy and Mommy would have another baby. If it was a little sister, she could pick up their clothes. If it was a little brother, then he could take the blame for them. It was perfect. Time flies and it's the weekend. Early in the morning, everyone began to pack their things and went to Zhu Lingling's house. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran moved to a new house because of Gao Ran's work. This house with 3 bedrooms, 2 living rooms and 2 bathrooms was 180 square meters. It was located in a high-end neighborhood near the Municipal Public Security Bureau. The people who lived here were all high-ranking officials and dignitaries. Because the Municipal Public Security Bureau often had unexpected cases, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling moved in a year ago to make it more convenient for them to deal with cases in the middle of the night. The interior was very luxurious. Chapter 2292. The family of 3 was used to living here. Zhu Lingling's family was the only one without a nanny because Gao Buyan was already in kindergarten. Gao Ran was working and Zhu Lingling had her own shop, so she was able to take care of the father and son's daily needs. Everyone felt at ease at their house because the neighborhood was very strict and was close to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Therefore, there wouldn't be any reporters following them. Huamin's family was the first to arrive. The family of 4 drove a black Bentley and slowly drove into the neighborhood. Since it was a private party, the family of 4 was dressed very casually. Huamin and Qin Chu wore matching outfits, which was rare for them. Huamin's outfit was beige with English letters on the front. It looked very trendy. Qin Chu's outfit was navy blue with the same English letters. They both wore white limited edition sports shoes from a famous brand. Pudding and Little Bean, on the other hand, were wearing red sportswear and had the same English alphabet as their parents. As soon as they walked in, Zhu Lingling exclaimed, "Wow, this is the first time I've seen you guys in matching outfits. You look so cool." "This is the first time you've seen Mr. Qin dressed so casually, right?" Huamin laughed. "Yes, most of the time I've seen him in suits. Auntie Lingling, do you think my daddy looks better in a suit or casual clothes?" Little Bean asked. "Your daddy is so handsome that he looks good even in a beggar's outfit." Zhu Lingling joked. "Are you praising my husband or are you praising my husband? Or are you complimenting my husband?" Huamin couldn't help but laugh. "Of course I'm complimenting your husband. Don't you know how handsome your husband is?" Zhu Lingling pouted. At this moment, Pudding asked with cold humor, "So, Auntie Lingling, do you want to switch husbands with my mommy?" Zhu Lingling almost choked. "Pudding, are you trying to sell your daddy out?" Huamin tilted his head and smiled. Qin Chu, on the other hand, didn't want to get involved in this boring topic with them. He walked directly to the refrigerator and took out a can of iced cola. Then he walked to Gao Ran's room while drinking. Gao Ran was actually playing games in front of the computer. Coming. Gao Ran was in the middle of the fight. He didn't even turn his head as he spoke. "The great bureau chief is actually playing online games at home so early in the morning. How unbelievable." Qin Chu leaned against the windowsill and teased. "So what if I'm a bureau chief? A bureau chief is also a human being. He needs to eat and shit too. This is my private time, understand?" After saying that, Gao Ran even pulled Qin Chu over. Come. Open my laptop. Let's have a match." "No," Mr. Qin refused. "Why?" Gao Ran was dumbfounded. "Because your game is too crappy," Mr. Qin said proudly. "Fuck, you're humiliating me. No, we have to have a one-on-one duel. Come. Gao Ran didn't want to admit defeat. In the end, Mr. Qin couldn't refuse Gao Ran's invitation. He slowly walked over and opened Gao Ran's laptop. The two grown men began their battle for supremacy in online games. Ever since Qin Chu graduated from high school, he rarely played online games. However, he knew all the popular online games. He was a genius. Therefore, he beat Gao Ran over and over again. However, Gao Ran refused to accept it. After being beaten over and over again, he continued to look for more. Huamin took off his jacket and asked Zhu Lingling, "They'll be here soon. Why don't we go over the menu first?" Chapter 2293. There's no need to research. I've bought a lot of vegetables and meat. We'll improvise when the time comes. Haha, you can just pick some ingredients to cook. Anyway, we're not here to eat. We're just here to have fun. Zhu Lingling wasn't a person who cared about trifles. When she bought groceries, she almost carried the entire supermarket and didn't choose carefully. This was even more difficult for a Virgo like Huamian. She was a perfectionist. "You're putting me in a difficult position," Huamin complained with her hands on her hips. Don't worry. We still have a lot of time. Take your time. I'll give you an apron." Then Zhu Lingling took out a small floral apron and put it on Huamin. She instantly turned into a cook. The two women went into the kitchen and began to study the menu for lunch. Pudding sat in the living room and turned on the TV. She was watching the speeches of several stock market experts on the finance channel. "Sis, let's go," Pudding said with a smile. "Where to?" Pudding was confused. "To find Gao Buing. Didn't you hear Auntie Lingling say that Gao Buing is still in bed? That's why we have to go. Let's see if we can make him walk out naked or something," Pudding said shamelessly. Then go by yourself." Hearing this, Pudding was even more reluctant to go. What's the point of watching TV? A bunch of self-righteous experts bragging. So boring. It's better to listen to Uncle Tang brag. Pudding seemed to be bored by her sister watching TV. Everyone has their own interests. Don't interfere, okay? If you want to flirt with Gao Buin, you can go by yourself. Pudding said slowly. "Hey, I'll go by myself." Then Pudding whistled like a female pervert and walked towards Gao Buin's room. Gao Buin didn't have to go to kindergarten on the weekend, so he was allowed to watch some cartoons last night. He overslept this morning. Zhu Lingling didn't want to wake him up because she loved her son. So when Pudding went in, Gao Buin was still sleeping soundly. The blankets were all minions, so cute. Damn, he's so childish. Even his blanket is made of cartoon characters, Little Bean mumbled. She walked up to Gao Buin and watched him snoring and drooling. She reached out and lifted the quilt. Then he sneaked a peek and was slightly disappointed. What? You're wearing so much. It turned out that Galbuin was wearing a thin long-sleeved shirt and trousers. Little Bean's desire to expose him was instantly extinguished. Galbuin didn't seem to realize that his quilt was lifted. He turned over and went back to sleep. Little Bean's eyes darted around and she suddenly had an idea. She first leaned over to Galbuin's ear and whispered, "Meow meow meow." Galbuin didn't respond. "Woof woof woof." Little Bean barked like a dog again. There was still no response. Little Bean lost her patience and slapped Galbuin on the back. Then he quickly lowered his head and hid under the edge of the bed. Galbuin was startled by the sudden slap. He opened his eyes in a daze, but there was no one around. He was puzzled. Could it be that he was dreaming? He lay down and closed his eyes. Then he was slapped again. This time, Galbuin felt it and sat up. He looked around, but there was still no one around. 3 seconds later, Galbuin rushed out, wailing like a ghost and howling like a wolf. "Oh my God, there's a ghost." It turned out that the kid thought it was the ghost who was causing trouble, so he was so scared that he ran away. You're tuning in to the Biao's Wuxiao Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.